Hi and welcome to CX Today. I'm Rhys Fisher, Deputy Editor, and I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Bardon, Chief Software Architect at ComputerTalk. And today we're going to be exploring everybody's favourite CX and customer service topic, AI, and looking at how ComputerTalk are taking a different approach, particularly when it comes to their ICE solution. Chris, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Let's get right into it.
Perfect. So you've recently released the latest version of your cloud contact center solution, ICE 15. Could you tell me a little bit about the new features and how AI is being used?
Sure. So in ICE, prior to ICE 15, we had already added in full generative AI capabilities for our workflow engine. We'd added capabilities in for being able to do things like summarize contacts and analyze previous contact interactions using generative AI prompts, right? So I can look for things like questions that were asked on a call, give me Q&A pairs off of this call, or ask whether something was a first contact resolution, or to classify calls to be able to automate post-call work. So that was all stuff we had in 14. 15, what we're doing is we're basically taking all of those features and allowing you to do that in real time. So this is where Agent Assist really comes into the picture. Is now I can build an agent assistant that is an application that sits on top of a call, listens to the call, and says, what questions the caller asked so far. And if the caller, get this list of questions back, now I can go back to a research agent and say, find me information about that an agent might find useful, get back the documents, and then I can present that to an agent. But then I can also say, hey, is there something in my CRM that I want to update while I'm doing this? So because we're a platform, we can start doing that as a real-time agent assist. So it's really being able to use AI and language models and language understanding in a generic way to examine what's happening on interactions in real time is the kind of the big change at 15, and that's all supplemental to what we've already got for historical analytics that we built into 14, and the AI services integrations we've got in the workflow platform.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that's great. So recently I've kind of been doing some work and research around the agent experience. And a common challenge that gets brought up by agents is having to kind of navigate or juggle all these multiple applications or systems. And I noticed one of ICE's features is that it allows users to handle all interactions within a single interface. Can you maybe expound on why that's so important in the contact center space?
Sure. So, I mean, what we do in ICE is, we are centralizing all of your contact handling capabilities. So, voice, email, and chat are all in the same UI. It's worth noting that when we talk about chat, we're talking about web chat, we're talking about SMS, we're talking about social media, we're talking about WhatsApp, and all of that gets normalized down to a single channel that an agent can handle. And one of the things we kind of pride ourselves on is the flexibility there. Like for voice, agents can be on they could be on their existing telephony. They can be on Teams Direct Routing, which is a big draw for our customers. But now they can also be on a native soft phone inside of ICE if they want us to be able to provide that connectivity. And that's again the same for chat. They can have their chats in Teams, they can have their chats in ICE. It's which they prefer. But then the other thing we do is we play well with others, right? So we know, we're the system of record for contacts, but we're not the CRM platform, right? Customers, you've already got your CRM platform, you've got your ERP platform, you've got your LOB applications, and so what we try and do is, from a UI perspective, we try and get out of the way. So it's either we want to, we'll sit there docked at the top of the screen. We've got a very, the main ICE UI, the ICE bar is a very slim toolbar that docks at the top of your screen. Or you can use the web client and just keep that in the background, or we can embed in other applications. We're flexible that way. But it's also about the two-way data communication between those applications. Again, if you bring AI into it, it's things like, maybe you want to insert a contact summary into your CRM platform after your call's done. Or maybe you want to tag it in there as a specific classification. So it's really making those systems of record work together nicely and minimize the amount of time that the agent has to manually do things. So, and then you start talking about, with ICE 15, and again, what I was saying with the real time, maybe it is that I want to bring those other systems of record up into focus when the call is happening, or even even automating some of those updates. So, if one of our customers' pain points is, every time I want to open a new ticket, an agent has to fill out this form in ServiceNow, and that takes them 5 minutes on every call. Maybe there's information that we can be collecting by listening to the call in real time and then inserting that automatically and popping it to the agent saying, "Hey, does this look good?" And all of a sudden now I've taken that manual work off. So it's really looking at, contact center as a platform, ICE as a platform, and how we can optimize your business processes.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So moving on to maybe another area of contention in the customer service and experience space in recent times, and that has been sort of how AI and humans can maybe coexist.
Mm-hmm.
What factor do you think businesses should be considering when they determine sort of when human intervention is necessary versus solely relying on AI?
Oh, I mean, human intervention is always necessary, even when building the AI, right? Like, keep in mind, go back, look back with contact center. Like, did IVR ever? IVR didn't replace every agent. Chatbots didn't replace every agent. What it did is it took, it increased the density and the sophistication of what people were able to do, right? I don't need necessarily a human agent to tell you what your balance in your account is. I can put that on the website, or I can put it in the IVR, I could put it in a bot. There's simple things that we can offload, but that didn't necessarily reduce the number of agents. In fact, the number of agents has gone up over the years. But it's really build the AI systems that can supplement the human ingenuity, right? And a lot of that comes into what are you able to automate that you couldn't automate before? What are you able to search for that you couldn't search for before? You know, part of the challenge with the contact center space finds is, there's a lot of churn in agents, right? They have a lot of staff turnover. They're bringing new people in all the time. So how can we help those people be more confident faster, right? How can we find the information that the experienced agents know, so you could turn that new agent into an experienced agent faster, right? Giving them the information they need, so they're not necessarily having to thumb through a policies document or search things on an intranet, or be kind of swivel chairing over to the next person the person next to them to ask how do you handle this. It's can we coach them through that with AI and give them access to that information, but still let the human be able to make the decisions. Right, because keep in mind, especially as you start dealing with, large language models and these sort of this new wave AI, none of those are deterministic, right? So that means you can ask the same question 5 times and get 5 different answers, and you don't know, if you don't know which one is right, that can turn out to be pretty disastrous. So there's some safeguards you could put on the AI systems to prevent that and reduce that, and have some sort of self-reflection, self-verification on it. But at the end of the day, you have to be very cognizant of, like, here's what we're putting in front of, here's the face we're putting out to our customers, and here's the brand that we have, and here's what we need that information to be to be bulletproof in a lot of ways. So I think there's a lot of ways to use AI to increase the density of what people are able to do, like be able to automate the mundane, and it's really fun. But I think the biggest value points are not necessarily in saying we're going to replace your human agents, but we're going to give them the information that is locked away in these interactions. Right, because there is a ton of knowledge in your contact centers. Like if you've got experienced agents there, they're not necessarily they're not going back to your policy docs every day. They're not going back to their knowledge base, because it's all up here, right? They know it. They know this stuff cold, and getting that information out, and surface to everybody else is that's the real value here.
Yeah, I think that leads on really nicely to the next question, because you've spoken about there how AI has altered the contact center, over the last few years, especially. And while there are, clear advantages to that, which you've touched on there, could you also maybe talk about some of the challenges and issues that come with adopting AI, and maybe how you go about trying to avoid or navigate them?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's keeping in mind that these AI systems, like it's when you start especially when you start talking about like new generative AI systems. Again, like I said, it's non-deterministic, and you know a good question to ask yourself is would you take someone off the street as an untrained employee and put them on your call queue? Like not no, you wouldn't expect some rando to know how your business works. So why would you do the same thing with an AI, right? Like an AI system is a like GPT-4, 4.0 is kind of the one of the leading frontier models, and is a really, really, really good token predictor. It knows how to finish a sentence, right? So but that's really about it. There's no knowledge baked in. There's no facts baked in. There's no reality baked in. It's really just this reality of like what word comes next in this sequence, and how do I finish a prompt. There's a lot you can do to sort of tweak that and make it look like it knows facts, and it could do pretty well at that. But at the end of the day, remember that you're dealing with something that is a non-deterministic token predictor. So what's the use? What's useful there? Again, it's using these models to both generate and understand language. And the language understanding part is actually kind of understated in a lot of ways, because this is making natural language an interface that is usable in computing. That's it means we don't not having to come up with these domain languages, programming languages and API contracts and things between AI systems. Like you're able to just ask for what you want, right? So I think that's a really exciting development here. But like coming back to the question, like looking at what the some of the challenges there, like AI doesn't necessarily change the contact center equation. Like you're looking for ways to get people the answers they need the fastest, in the most efficient way possible, right? It may be talking to the right person. It may be finding the right, self-service option. It may be putting something on your website, right? And it's looking, it's we need to look. You need to look at things end to end to figure out, okay, where do you want to invest, and what do you think is going to provide the best value? And especially when you start taking a look at generative AI and speech applications, like those take time to get right. You can throw a basic prompt at something and start putting, build a chatbot in, half an hour. But is it going to be any good? You have to, it's something you have to test, and you have to refine, right? And so you have to put it out there. You have to get real responses. You have to get fake responses first. You're testing internally, but then, at some point you're going to throw into production, and someone is going to ask something you never anticipated. And how's your app going to react? Right. So there's, and so it's an ongoing process of improvement with these applications, and even with from the analytics side, like get a week's worth of data, and then let's sit down and start looking at it. Okay, where are you getting what you need? Yes or no? Okay, let's tweak that, and it's refining and refining, and I think there's this expectation like I flip the AI switch and it all works. And you turn the AI switch on, and now you've got more work ahead of you, because like first of all, you have to be able to make sure you're getting the right data, and then you have to decide what you're going to do with the data, right? So it's an ongoing commitment. It's not something you can sort of deploy once and stop thinking about. It's like this is a new way of life for CCaaS customers. So yeah, you're going to get you can get some great gains in what where your agents are spending their time and automating that. But it's also going to cost, but you're also going to have to spend time figuring out, okay, what is the next thing I want to automate? So it's, hey, it's great. It's exciting times for everybody. So there's a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that's really, really interesting insight into how AI works, in reality, perhaps, rather than outsiders looking and making assumptions about, like you said, the magic button idea of AI, which, is a myth, really. So just the final question here, and it's, what do you think will be the next major AI-related trend in the contact center space?
Sure. So, 2023 was really about we're going to try and build the AI that does everything, right? It was this sort of magical super AI that's going to become hyper intelligent, is going to know every answer to every question, and we realized pretty fast that's not going to happen, right? But what is interesting is now you're seeing the trend towards more AI agents, and like I was saying earlier, agents are it's kind of a tricky thing to talk about from the contact center space, because you've got AI agents and human agents at the same time. But an AI agent is really an AI that can do a single task, right? And what's interesting about this new world of AI agents is it's taking language models as a fundamental. So like I was saying earlier, with language being the API interface, these agents are self-describing using natural language, and they're able to interface with each other using natural language, and they're able to use tools and call tools using these conventions. So what I think you're going to start seeing is more scoped AI applications, and it's going to be agents that do specific things, right? So it's going to be like, build me an agent that does does ticket status lookup, which is sounding a lot like we were talking about bots back in the day. But again, the key is that we'll be able to use ICE now to orchestrate that using natural language. So if someone asks a question, I don't have to go in and necessarily tag a bunch of intents and say, is this intent to look up a ticket? I can say, is this intent to look up a ticket, and here's my look up a ticket intent, and here's 20 different ways you could ask for that, and I'm going to sort of try and guess and say I'm pretty confident that it's this. I can just say, hey, language model, is this person trying to look up a ticket? If so, call the agent that, here's an agent that describes itself. It's like, hi, I look up tickets, and you're able to orchestrate that way, which is interesting. So I think what you're going to start seeing is more and more buildup of these purpose-built AI systems. And what's cool about that is it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all system, right? Like, some are going to be simple, it's going to be retrieval augmented generation applications using frontier models, but then you're going to see things with fine-tuned models. You're going to see things that put in toolchain calling. You're going to see things that put in custom machine learning models, small language models running on the edge, right? Image analysis models, like all these things are going to be able to work in their own specific domain, that then I start bringing together and saying, well, now I'm going to orchestrate this in an agentic system. So I think there's a lot of hype around agentic architectures right now. It's not a new thing. Like I actually wrote my master's thesis 20 some years ago around multi-agent AI. So this is not a new concept, but what is new is the layering natural language into this is going to be kind of game changing. So I think, look for that next year. I think it's going to be a lot of sort of purpose-built system, agents that can do specific things very well.
Great, and I think that's a good spot to end things. Thank you so much for joining me today, Chris.
Well, thanks for having me.
Always welcome. And thank you to all our viewers as well for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye on cxtoday.com for more stories like these. Until next time, thanks for watching.